So not too long ago, I was looking into religion and deciding what I actually should believe for myself. Come to a rational conclusion. And during this time period, I discovered a man named William Lane Craig, who's a philosopher that does his lion's share of work in Christianity and existence of God. Now, considering his primary arguments were philosophical, I thought, it's probably a good idea to learn about philosophy so I can fully understand his arguments. Come to realize, philosophy is really what I just like to call critical thinking. The issue with saying philosophy is, when you say philosophy, people think of those stone people who are like this, and then they also think of the people who go, "Do I really exist?" I don't even know if the mic caught that. I forgot. I have the mic. Alright, whatever. I'm not talking about those people who question whether or not they exist. Those people are retarded. I just like to call philosophy critical thinking, because that's really all it is. Just thinking hard, thinking logically. And within philosophy, I found many things very valuable for everyday life. So that would be things like the argument formats and logical fallacies. These things help you in your everyday life to understand other people better, understand why the average person is a complete moron, and also help you not be a complete and utter moron yourself. So, I'll share some basic philosophy 101 stuff. So first, we're going to go over some argument formats. One is deductive arguments. So these are deductive arguments. So an argument's like a main point you're making, and the premises of an argument are the supporting points. Just so you understand. So deductive arguments are where the conclusion is logically unavoidable if the premises are true. So, the example I have here is, cucks like to see their woman with other men. Adam 22 likes to see his woman with other men. Therefore, Adam 22 is a cuck. You cannot disprove the conclusion. You can only disprove the premises. So you'd either have to prove the first premise or second premise are false, which in this case they aren't. So now we have inductive arguments. Inductive arguments where based on premises, the conclusion is only supported. It's not 100% set in stone, but in a good deductive argument, you could presume the conclusion is true. So this is a good argument for trying to solve problems. For example, most people who spend 8 hours a day on video games are losers. Little Timmy plays 8 hours of Fortnite a day. So, Timothy is probably a loser. It's not logical certainty, but it is likely. Highly likely, I would add. Now, we have abductive arguments. So, abductive arguments are probably the most underrated. This is probably the most useful to use in your life. This is where you lay out the information you have, and you try to come to a conclusion based on those facts. This is like a educated guess. So here, the example I have here, it's going to apply to a lot of you. I'm sorry. Your girl turns off her location at certain times. At these times, she doesn't answer the phone. She refuses to allow you to check her phone. She has a lot of guy friends. She also acts very oddly when you press at all towards this issue. The conclusion, most likely, is your girl's a cheating skank. Sorry, bro. Now let's do logical fallacies. So logical fallacies are basically, how would I define this? Because I would just say it's retarded reasoning, but we're gonna call it that, retarded reasoning, whatever. Who cares? Well, and actually a fallacy is shut up, retard. Anyways, so one's pretty common. All of these are not all the fallacies, just like how all the arguments are not all the arguments, but these are just the main ones that you need to know. So, firstly, we have the genetic fallacy. It's by showing how a belief originated to show it to be false. So, for example, little Timmy wants to tell me that because religions are geographically relative, they all can't be true. Timmy is a retard because this commits a genetic fallacy. It's a very basic fallacy. Just because religions are geographically relative doesn't mean they're all wrong. You aren't actually attacking the subject, which is the religion. You're just attacking the origin. Low battery, don't care. Circular reasoning. This is what I like to call the Kamala Harris fallacy. Basically, try to prove your conclusion with your conclusion. For example, Stacy is saying she's not a hoe because she's not a hoe. I think we can abductively conclude Stacy's a hoe, but this is circular reasoning. You're trying to say you're not a hoe because you're not a hoe. Bimbo. Now, straw man. This one is super common. Basically, it's bastardizing your opponent's argument. This is something good, but dirty debaters use all the time. They use this all the time. Watch any debates, learn about fallacies, you'll realize a lot of dirty debaters just straw man their balls off. And it sounds good. This is why you have to listen to your opponent. So, I say, you're a loser because you believe white privilege is a problem. You then say, you don't believe in human rights? This is a bastardization of my argument. I didn't say that. I never said anything about human rights. I just said white privilege is a retarded concept. Which it is. Now, ad hominem. So this is essentially by trying to disprove the other person's conclusion by attacking the person instead of the actual arguments and what they're saying. So, I say, you should become a high-value man to attract women. You say, I'm wrong because I'm genetically gifted by God, so I'm not qualified to give advice to average people. It's just attacking the character, it's not attacking the actual arguments. So, this is the last one I'll go over. This one right here. This is what I like to call the woman's power move. Appeal to emotion. Well, what other one was it going to be aside from appeal to emotion? You ask your girl why she sucked another dude's balls. She says, well, I felt sad. Fallacy. This is not a logical explanation. It is fallacious. Now, as an ending note, simply proving the other person's argument to be fallacious doesn't actually prove your side. It doesn't also disprove their conclusion. You still need to provide a counter-argument. Don't be one of those nerds who just go, well, I actually committed the fallacy there, and then not have anything on your side. Use this sparingly. Think with your head. Use common sense along with all of this. I don't want any retards. I don't want to spawn any retards from this channel. You're all going to be G's. You're all going to be smart. That's my personal responsibility. None of you are going to be retarded nerds. Okay? Got it? No retarded nerds. You know my pen from last time. My Make America Great Again hats right there. No retarded nerds. Pen, hats. These are now staples of the channel.